Everyone starts somewhere. A few months ago, whilst unpacking boxes into my new art studio, I stumbled across something I hadn't looked through in years. Boxes upon boxes filled with every sketchbook my parents had kept from my childhood. In my last video, I shared just a few pages, and so many of you said you'd love a full tour, so today we're going back through them together. From my earliest drawings as a child, all the way through to sketchbooks I filled just before heading to art school. Now, I am literally surrounded by these sketchbooks. In total, I think there are about 55. So obviously we don't have enough time to go through all of them today, unless you want a Lord of the Rings extended edition version of this sketchbook tour. So what I've done is I've handpicked about one book a year, give or take, as there are some years missing, but it's still a pretty extensive archive of my childhood in sketchbooks. So from about the age of 3 all the way up to just before I went to university. So for those of you who are new here, my name is Claire Luxton. I am a full-time contemporary artist. I studied fine art at Goldsmiths. So I'm going to kind of take you up to that point. I really wanted to make this video because I think it's so easy to see people out there in creative careers and you probably think that they just have it all together, wonder how they got to that point. And I think it's so easy to get kind of swamped in the highlight reel of people's success and think that it just happened overnight. But this has been 20 years in the making for me of this career, and longer if we go back to when I was 3, but then I would be revealing my age far too much. And so I really hope that this video is, though it's quite uncomfortable for me, it's a very vulnerable thing to share stuff from your childhood, but I hope that this video is inspiring in as much as everybody starts somewhere. None of us come out into the world as fully formed, and for me, art is so much about doing. I'm still learning, I'm still developing. My practice grows and evolves every single year. And so I thought this would be just a really fun thing for everyone to see, an evolution of an artist who is now working as a full-time artist, and that is my career. So what I thought would be lovely is maybe make yourself a tea, grab a sketchbook, grab an old sketchbook. So let's get comfy and go through this together. I'm really excited to introduce you to my younger self. I have broken this down into roughly 3 categories for your viewing pleasure. And what I'll do is I'll add these as timestamps on the video. So if you want to jump to a particular part of my life, then you can do so at your own leisure. So this middle section is effectively younger years, primary and secondary. Then we have college / my foundation course, and then this is the summer before I went to university. So that's how we will break this down in this video. So let's begin with my formative years. This is the oldest book that I have, and it's from when I was 4 years old. Claire has produced some lovely artwork. The detail in pictures has increased greatly over the past year, and this is so sweet because detail is something that is so important to my practice now. I'm obsessed with all of the details, so having that on the front just really made me smile. have no recollection of any of these artworks. Actually, I do remember making the ladybug. There's something about the texture of this paper that feels so familiar, and just the shape. But other than that, I have no recollection of making these artworks. We also have my class report from the year 2000. Please enjoy this time capsule. I'm just focusing on the art and design. Claire has worked well with a wide range of materials. Her artwork is usually so cruel, usually creative and produced with some care, always with some care. She had made use of her sketchbook to record observations and ideas, using them as stimulus for further work. And that's how we always do it, guys. She has shown that she has a good eye for detail. Back to the detail, yes. She needs to continue to work hard to build on skills and techniques she has begun to develop this year. And this never ends. Year 7 of secondary school. I think flowers just continued to become a motif for me from this point onwards, and even in the early years book we had flowers and the ladybug, and those things have really stuck with me, it would seem. I think this is where colour, I think from here on out you'll start to see a lot more colour. If you know my work well, you know that colour is something that's quite intense and prolific and intentional. And I think when I start to introduce colour, you start to see quite a step up in my creativity. For me, again, flowers, but this seems like a great improvement in my practice from, much earlier on in the book. I always did love watercolours. I forgot about this. This was my childhood bedroom wardrobe, and I used to, as well as, I guess, drawing, I used to incessantly go home and decorate my wardrobe. I wanted to paint the inside, the doors, and I've drawn it. It must have been my muse. Our first step into faces. Look at that, I love art. That's so sweet. No. Look here. Did I produce my best possible standards? Yes. Like the confidence back then. We could do with more of that now. Feel I did especially well on my Monet Purple Poppies, and I liked it just again now. So my taste levels have apparently not changed. I really remember doing this, how funny. I want to say that I also made this out of clay, but I don't have that, so that's quite sad, but something tells me I made this into a mask. Year 8. Were you a millennial girl if you didn't have an obsession with the Egyptians? That's my only question. Were you a millennial girl without some sort of obsession with the Egyptians or the Tudors or the Black Death? As you can see, colour is starting to enter, as well as figures. I really think that you can see at this stage that my abilities vary quite a lot, which I think is really interesting. I think some things are much more realised and have intention than others. But I can definitely see this stuff that I enjoyed making more seems apparent to me on the page. Already signing my work, which I absolutely love. Moving on to the very thick and chunky sketchbooks. So these were a combination of research books, sketchbooks, and kind of collage, junk journal type books for us at school. So there's a mixture of doing, thinking, and research, and that's still very much how I work today. We also worked with a theme, which you'll see on the cover of each book, and this one was inside. I seem to really like drawing peppers across these books, and red, which also hasn't changed. I forgot about this project. I think I actually sculpted this sketch. Photography starting to become a bigger part of experimenting for me. God, I actually hate that so much. It's hideous. What a hideous sculpture. I'm so sorry, baby. Oh. So at school I did a couple of wall murals, which was so fun at the time. And especially as I now have gone on to do a lot of public art installations, I feel like this was the start of that for me. So this was for the PE GCSE area that I did a life wall drawing. Outside. Now this was a little bit of the book that you got a sneak peek of last week if you saw my previous video. Photography was definitely becoming a lot more prolific now within my work. Just taking my camera with me wherever I was and documenting things that are colourful, things that are within nature, people, and I guess that inspiration is a thread that has followed me throughout my life. Oh, yes, I did a replica painting over the summer of Van Gogh's cypress trees. So this is the original and this one is mine, which actually, you know, ring the fraud police. I'm quite proud of actually looking back, being so young. God, he died at 37, that is so young. Wow. As I mentioned last week, nature, butterflies, apparently peppers, although that hasn't been a continued theme, but just the colour and nature has been something so continuous throughout my career. I'm going to say that they told us that we had to do peppers because I have no idea why I would draw so many peppers. But the botanicals are starting to come through much more strongly. And my deep love of watercolours and painting starting to emerge. This kind of pen texture and loose drawing becomes quite apparent in my later sketchbooks, which is very interesting to see it crop up at this early stage, but it seems to be the way I develop sketching. This book was a crossover between the end of secondary school and college. Nature. I became very interested in process during this year, so kind of etching, line drawing, lino printing, layering different materials and forms. More self-portraits. I really love these pages. It feels so much like me emerging, and I've totally forgotten that I did them. Jousting. Now this is so funny because I literally just got back from the Luxton joust. I'll put some pictures on the screen, but I try and go every year. I love cosplay, I love dressing up, and my husband and I went as knights and also Vikings. It's across a weekend, so different outfit for each day, but it's so funny how this was something that was so important to me back then and still is very much a part of my life now. Love my photography from back then. I forgot I did this. These are from the hedge maze at Leeds Castle, and that's actually where I got married. So again, that's another beautiful connection. I'll try and put a picture of that in here as well. That's so nice. Now we're going to move on to college and my foundation course. These years were like so much more experimental, finding my voice, and I became really obsessed with different size sketchbooks and notebooks, text, collage, leaning into my photography. I also loved making my own zines, and I have a couple of those that I can show you. Some of my early poetry, and these were all from photographic references, so you can see how the practice starts to link up quite a lot. Little tiny baby book. These were all photographic experiments that I then used as painting references. It's so funny to see how much of my process is still similar and how much of it is changed. This pattern came from my sketching, and it actually ended up becoming another massive wall mural. This is when I started making little books. I always loved combining line drawing with oil and watercolour and just building up these scenes which were built from my photographic references. Along the way, photography kind of became reverse engineered into my work, and that became the main part of the process. I'm not really sure what happened to colour at this stage, but I think I was just really invested in my photography and then in these kind of really organic sketches, and it was more about the story and the narrative than the colour at this point. And also my poetry, combined with image. At this stage, I loved doing photographic experiments in the darkroom, playing with different solutions, playing with different transfer experiments. And some of these photos and these portraits really started something for me when it came to narratives within faces. So this photographic series became one of my zines that I created in Amsterdam. And again, faces becoming quite important in how I saw the world and wanted to explore it. Negative tests on exposure times. So I photographed faces of friends and strangers and turned it into a book. And likewise from this also developed into, because I'd had to, really go up to strangers and invite them in. And so I then thought about the awkwardness of social situations. And that became another zine, a two-parter. I love that one. We were in the Canterbury Cathedral, out on the streets. and yes, like film experimentations. And I think this was taken with one of the cameras that I found 2 videos ago. But you can see photography and people becoming more substantial within my practice. And just to finish, this is the summer before I went to Goldsmiths. And then the summer before I went to university, my practice had developed even further, and some of the patination that you saw painting-wise coming out in the last series came through in these really tiny little experimentations. And these pieces in here also became part of that visual dialogue. At this stage, I'm experimenting with the pen, I'm experimenting with the paint, I'm experimenting with the photography, and it's all blending together into one practice. And it's so interesting, if you know my installation from Battersea Power Station, to me there feels like so many parallels between this stage of my practice and education and my life as a professional artist. Well, if you are still here, congratulations, you made it through the time capsule. Thank you so much for joining me. That was so kind of rewarding and nostalgic for me to rediscover parts of myself that I'd forgotten, but I think ultimately was still there. So much of the themes, my techniques, my thought processes have been there from such an early age, and that was so interesting to discover about myself. And I hope that from your point of view, I think it's so easy to forget now that everything is so fast-paced and so instant, that all of these things must happen so quickly. But this is 20 plus years of a culmination of an artistic voice, an artistic visual voice, a narrative, a way of looking at the world. And I'm still learning and discovering new things every single day. So if you did enjoy this video and would like to spend more time with me, I would love that. So I would love it if you would subscribe, and it will be business as usual next week, back to a normal studio video. But I hope that no matter where you are in your artistic career, that this will inspire you to keep going, keep experimenting. These things don't just happen overnight. And for me, the true art is in the doing, in the practicing, in the mistakes, in the learning, in the experimentation. And that's where the true discovery and joy comes from. So thank you again for being here. Still don't have a proper sign off. Maybe that's the sign off. And I'll see you next week. Bye.